Hi, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms. This time I'm doing a solo Charter Moms chat because I want to talk about an especially important topic. So we're recording this in August of 2023, but it's going to be relevant for a lot of folks who are doing school search whenever they get started. So today what we're talking about is the timeline of a school search. And I've got a blog post on the website that explains kind of step by step what's a good process to do it. But I wanted to also kind of have this conversation with you so you can, maybe, hear it in my voice and think about what questions you have. I like this comes up a lot, like in the Facebook discussion group. Parents are asking, like, when should I start? How early is too early? What if I'm getting a late start? And so that's what I want to do, is kind of break it down by stages, like maybe 12 months before, 10 months before, 8 months, 6 months, and then you'll know more what to expect, and hopefully have a little less stress, because as I know, as a mother, and as our team knows, that we care so much about our children. We want the best for them, and as Charter Moms, we want to arm you with information so that you can do the best search and hopefully get your kids into a school that's going to be a great fit for them, where they can thrive, they can feel like they belong. That's our goal for the end of this process, is doing the best for our kids. Okay, so let's talk about school search timeline. And a question we get a lot is, when should I start? And the key date you need to think about is, what is the time when your child would start at their new school? And then what we need to do is work backwards from that date. So what I recommend is about a 12-month process is probably ideal. And keep in mind, okay, so as an example, like, so if you're looking for your child to start kindergarten next year, in let's see, 1 year from now would be August of 2024, and I'm recording this in August of 2023, so that's about 12 months away. And so this would be an optimum time to start your school search for your child who would start kindergarten next year. And I should mention that in Texas, the cutoff date is September 1st. So in order for your child to start kindergarten in August of 2024, they would need to be turning 5 years old by September 1st of 2024. And if you're not sure about the math, not sure how it works, just come on into the Charter Moms discussion group, and we can explain it. Or also, if you ask a registrar at a school, they can explain how the timeline works, and also for pre-K or for first grade or things like that. Okay, so we're using our kind of kindergarten example. You have a child who will be 5 years old by September 1st, 2024. So you're looking for a kindergarten for them that they would start in August of 2024. And if you're curious about when different schools and school districts start their school year, we have a blog post on the website about school calendars. So you can search for school calendars, or you can click on the link in the school search timeline blog post, and that'll take you there. But most schools in the San Antonio area start in mid-August. There's a few that start earlier, but mid-August is pretty typical. Okay, so we get folks in the group who have very young children, and they're very excited. And what I tell them is, yes, start your research. So even if the date when your child would start school is more than a year away, go ahead and get started. You can learn from other members in the group. You can go on school tours. You can come to school discovery days. You'll just have more time to think about it, and you'll also be able to watch your child grow and develop and find out what their interests are. And that's a beautiful thing. So we welcome folks who are more than a year away. You can start doing your research. One question we get is like, does it help if I apply early? Can I get on the waiting list early? And in Texas, it doesn't help. The waiting lists don't carry over from year to year. You'd have to reapply the next year anyway. So go ahead and do your research. Be part of the discussion. We welcome you, even folks with very young children. But there aren't any concrete steps you can do, like getting on waiting lists, because the charter school wait lists start over every year. You have to reapply. And then another question we get is, folks who want to make a change, but maybe they're not starting in August. Maybe they're starting, at 8 months, 6 months before school starts, or maybe it's in the middle of the school year and they realize things aren't working and they need to make a change. And my advice is, don't panic. There's always hope. There are amazing schools in San Antonio that have openings right now. You'll still need to go through these steps, but you'll just need to do them more quickly. And that's okay. We're here to help, and we've got tools to help you. and the members of the Charter Moms group are happy to offer advice. We'll steer you in the right direction. So you might have to make decisions more quickly. You might have to get back to a school right away with a decision. Also, if you're applying for the upcoming school year, but you do it after the end of open enrollment, there's a greater chance your child will be placed on a waiting list. And if this all sounds like a lot of jargon, don't worry about it. We'll explain it. But just don't give up hope, because there are fantastic schools that still have openings. It's just a matter of, you just need the knowledge, and that's what we're here to help with. Okay, so I'm going to break it down in different chunks. So the way we spaced it out is what you do 12 months before, 10 months, 8 months, and then in the 6 months leading up to the start of school. So right now I'm going to explain what are the steps you do at ideally 12 months before school would start. So for our example, if we're helping like a family with a kindergartner who would start in August of 2024, and right now it's August 2023. So this is a great time to do your school search. So the great starting point is our school choice guide on the website. And to find that, you go to sachartermoms.com/guide, or you can just click on, it's right at the top of the bar on the website. And what that does is it shows you an alphabetical list of the schools that we track, and you can expand out each one. There's also a map that has a search feature, so you can narrow down by certain features. And the key thing is that now, when they started this page over 10 years ago, there weren't as many schools to track, and which it was a little discouraging, because if you wanted a choice school, there weren't as many to choose from. Now there are so many to choose from, and it's really exciting for me, but I know for families it can get overwhelming. So your goal is to narrow it down to a short list. And some of the key factors I recommend for narrowing things down are obviously location, because San Antonio is very spread out. And I know my California relatives don't believe me, but we actually do have traffic sometimes, right? So location matters. So figure out how far you'd be willing to drive, or find out if the school has transportation. So that could open up your options. What grade levels does that campus serve, right? Because some are pre-K through 12, some are K through 12, some are just elementary, just middle, just high school. So find out what grades that school serves. Does it serve what you're looking for your child? And then look at school quality. So we have a way to filter based on the letter grade rating provided by the Texas Education Agency. And I know that's not the end all be all about school quality, but it's a helpful tool. It's a level playing field between traditional public schools and charter schools. If a school has a low rating, that's kind of a red flag. If a school has a high rating, that means that a lot of the students on that campus are learning at grade level, and that's a good sign. You can also search by learning model. So we have a whole nother blog post about that, but explains like what is the difference between STEM education, classical education, liberal arts education, child-centered, culturally affirming schools that support children with functional needs. So again, this is part of what I geek out about, what I love about school choice. There's so many different learning models, and it's just a matter of researching them, getting to know your child, getting to know these schools, and then finding what's the right fit. And that's what makes me so excited about the state of education in San Antonio, is that we have so many different learning models to choose from. So, okay, hopefully you can start with the school choice guide, and helps you narrow it down from this amazing, huge list of schools down to a short list of schools that you're the most interested in. And then from that, I recommend that you get to know these schools. And I'm a huge proponent of our school discovery days, and which are events that we're holding 5 of these events in this upcoming season, and you'll be able to meet 20 or more schools at different tables at each event. So very quickly, you can meet a lot of different schools, ask questions, kind of get a vibe, get to know them. So I highly recommend that you visit a school discovery day in the upcoming season. And it's on our website, sachartermoms.com/school-discovery-day, or it's right there in the bar. You can click on it, register for some of those events. So those are very efficient, because you can meet a lot of schools in one place. But it's also great to go on campus. And if you can go during the school day for a school tour, you can observe a classroom and see how the teachers act with the students, see what the student atmosphere is, right? Like, are they wearing uniforms? Are they wearing, fun clothes? Are they, do they sit in rows? Are they playing? Like, how do they act on the playground? How do they act in the lunchroom? You can learn all kinds of things from going on a school tour. But just, contact the schools, find out what their policies are. Also, we include those in the enrollment guide blog posts that you can find if you click through on the school guide. But highly recommend visiting schools. If you go in the evening, you might be able to still tour the school, or you might be able to hear from school leadership and see what the facility is like. So, so even if you can't go during the school day, if that's your work day, you can still go to events on campus and get a better feel for what that school is like, and get your questions answered, whether it's about curriculum or discipline policies or school safety, all kinds of questions and differentiators that parents have. So, and then also I highly recommend joining the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook. I've got the URL there on the screen. So SA Charter Moms discussion, facebook.com/groups. And we're over 11,000 members right now. And it's a safe place to ask your questions. And, parents will jump in and help and, share their advice about based on their own experience. We also have folks who work in schools and can talk about their experience. But it's a great resource because there's just about any school in San Antonio, you'll be able to find somebody in the group who has some experience or an opinion on it. Okay, so those are good things to do in the sort of 12 to 10 month period before your child would start school. If you're getting a light start, it's okay. You'd still do those steps, but you might just have to speed it up a little bit. So what would you, if you've done those things in the 12-month time frame, what would you do when it's about 10 months before school starts? So in our example of a child who would start kindergarten in August 2024, these are things you would do in October of 2023. Okay, so that is when you would start submitting applications to charter schools. Now, the best time to submit an application is during open enrollment. The tricky part is that open enrollment periods vary from one school to another. I know they're making it hard on us, but the good news is that a typical open enrollment period is from November through February. So most schools are going to follow that timeline. Now, there are a few schools who start early as September, and there are some schools who have deadlines that are early, like before winter break. So some schools have deadlines in mid-December, and so you need to get those applications in a little earlier. You need to track the enrollment deadlines for the schools that are on your short list to make sure that you get the applications in on time. The good news is applications they're simple. They don't take very long. There's no fee to apply, but you do need to get them in. So you can find enrollment deadlines on our school guide page. You can find them in the enrollment guide blog post that we're updating. So an enrollment guide would cover like a particular campus or a school network. Also, we'll be posting about them in the discussion group on Facebook, like, hey, a reminder, like, hey, this application just opened. You can get your application in. It helps you speed things up. Actually, so one question that comes up is, like, a parent will ask, like, okay, if open enrollment starts in November and ends in February, does it make any difference if you apply on November 1st or February 1st? And the answer is generally no. What they do is they randomize. So if more applications come in than they have seats, they'll randomize it and then pick out a set of names, make offers of enrollment to those families, and then the other students get put on the waiting list. And usually it's random. There are some rare cases where there's kind of a tiebreaker based on when you get the application in. That varies by school. Any kind of niche question like that, it'd be good to go talk to the school registrar and figure out how it works in their system. But for the most part, unless it's some kind of weird edge case with the waiting list, it doesn't matter when during the open enrollment period that you apply. So, but they're usually very quick, and you can apply to more than one school. So in fact, we recommend that you apply to more than one school because sometimes weird things happen and your child gets waitlisted. It's good to have a backup. That's why the short list is really important. Okay, so you're submitting applications, and then you have to kind of wait and see, but you can still keep doing research. So if you've narrowed it down to your short list and then you apply to each of those schools as their open enrollment periods start, you can keep doing research. You can go to school discovery days that we're hosting. You can go to information sessions and school tours hosted by the schools, and you can keep asking questions in the discussion group, and you can keep getting to know your child. Do activities with them and figure out, like, are they more into the arts? Are they more into science? Do they like lots of open space where they can run around. They like being in nature. So, have fun with your kids and get to know your kids. And we're always talking about fun family activities in the Charter Moms group. So, don't stress out and just keep having fun with your family and help your kids grow and do fun stuff. Okay, so those are good things to do in the 10-month time frame. But like I said, if you're getting a late start, don't worry. You might need to do these steps a little more quickly, but you've still got time. Okay, so what should you do about 8 months before school would start for your child? So in our example, we're talking about a kindergartner who would start in August of 2024. This is stuff that families would do in December of 2023. So we talked about applying and tracking those enrollment deadlines to make sure you get your application in during open enrollment, because then there's a better chance of getting an offer and a lower chance of being waitlisted. You'll want to start tracking what the lottery dates are, because after open enrollment ends, assuming that there's lots of applications, the schools will run lotteries and then they'll make offers to the students whose numbers get picked, and then the students whose numbers don't get picked, those families will get placed on a waiting list. So a lottery date, it gives you heads up that you might be hearing from that school one way or another. So hopefully you'll be getting offers of enrollment. If not, you should get information about how to log into a portal and find out what the status is of your child's application, like how close are they to the top of the waiting list. For some school networks, it's hard to get that information. So you might just know they're waitlisted, but maybe not know how close they are. But hopefully you can log into the portal and find out. So you might get it by an email. You might get a notification to log into the portal. Different schools use different systems to track it. If you want to see a blast from the past, look up the documentary Waiting for Superman, and they show live lotteries where they have these like bingo machines are spinning. The little ball rolls out. They read out the number. It's very emotional. I can't watch that movie without crying because all these kids they want a better future and they're trying to get into the school of their dreams. And some of them have room for them and some of them don't. And that's why it's important for schools to keep growing and keep offering seats for kids. So, okay, but starting in December, and then that's when you can be tracking when the lotteries are going to be. The lotteries start happening in January, February, and continue through the spring as the schools close their open enrollment periods. Like I said, if you're wondering what are these open enrollment deadlines, what are these lottery dates, we're updating that on the school guide page in the enrollment guide blog post, and also we're posting about it in the Charter Moms discussion group. So, and you can always call the school and just ask, the front office. They should know where they are status wise for the lotteries and for the waiting list and stuff. Okay, so those are good things to do in the 8-month time frame before school starts. Then what about when you get to about 6 months before school starts? So this, in our example of a student who would be going to kindergarten in August 2024, this is stuff that would be happening in February 2024. So one thing you do is as lotteries happen, you should get a notification, either an offer of enrollment or notice that your child's been placed on a waiting list. You should be able to either log into a portal and check the status of your child's application, like how far they are on the waiting list, or contact the school, ask about your child's waitlist status. The good news is, hopefully, if you're getting offers of enrollment, then it's time to do the registration and do the paperwork. Like they might ask for proof of residency. The good news is that most charter schools have a large open enrollment area. You can check on their website or on the TEA website to find out how big that area is. Some Texas charter schools are open to any student in the entire state. Some are more limited to like the San Antonio metro area or maybe a group of counties around San Antonio. So if you live in an outlying area, you might want to check the status, but it means you don't have to live in a particular neighborhood. If you can get your child there, then they can get access to that education. So hopefully by this point you've gotten multiple offers to schools that you're excited about. You can accept more than one offer and do the registration to give yourself more time to do research. But we always encourage people to act in good faith, because as soon as you narrow it down to one school, you should withdraw from all the other schools, because that means somebody else gets to move up off the waiting list and get an offer and make a plan for their child, and maybe buy some uniforms and buy some school supplies and join the parents group and start meeting other families. And you want that for other families as well. So as soon as you can narrow it down to one school, get your child registered at that school and withdraw from any other school. That way, hopefully the schools, they want to have full classes of kids show up on the first day of school. So to not show up on the first day of school causes a lot of disruption for that school and for families who might have wanted that spot, but now that they might have to make a switch during the school year. So that's more stressful. So those are the steps that we talk about doing in different stages, whether that's 12 months, 10 months, 8 months, 6 months before. I have a few more thoughts about how school search works. I hope this advice is helpful. As I mentioned at the beginning, when you look at that guide page, it can feel really overwhelming because there's so many schools that we cover. But I want you to just take a deep breath and don't worry about it, because this process will get you narrowed down to schools that are the right fit. And you can ask in the discussion group, you can ask us at School Discovery Day. You've got your village, your friends and family. They're going to steer you in the right direction. And don't be afraid to pause and just take some time to meditate or pray or ask for discernment, ask for guidance. Because our kids are so important to us. But if you break it down into steps, this will lead you to the right place. One thing I want to say, sometimes it feels like it's so important to find the perfect school. There may not be the perfect school. There might be 2 or 3 schools that would all work well for your child. And choosing among those can be really hard. And sometimes you just have to trust the process, or if your child's a little bit older, maybe get them involved in the decision. Again, talk it over with your friends and family. So sometimes, kind of fate steers us in one way or another. And then later we realize that was really where we needed to be. So if it feels like there's more than one school that's a good fit, that might be true. And don't worry about it. And things will find a way to work themselves out. What you really want is my child in a place where their academic and social needs are being met? It's a community that supports how your family wants to raise your children. And then that's going to help set your kids up for a brighter future. And as I mentioned before, you can apply to more than one school. You can register at more than one school, but act in good faith and do your research. As soon as you can narrow it down to just one school, withdraw from all the others, because that allows other families to move up the waiting list and hopefully get that satisfaction of feeling like their child is enrolled in the school. It's going to be the right fit for them. So now, if things don't go as well as you hoped, you do a school search and you haven't gotten an offer for a school that you feel like is a good fit for your child, don't give up hope, because you can always reapply the next year. Like I said, waiting lists don't carry over from year to year, but there are new schools opening all the time. And some networks offer a transfer priority. So let's say you really want your child in a particular school network, but you couldn't get into your number one campus. You might choose a farther away campus, stay there for a year, and then transfer to the campus that you really want. There's, like I said, in the group, we're here to help. Lots of parents with ideas and opinions, and we can help you problem solve whatever your unique situation is. There's probably a school out there that's the right fit for your family. So I hope this has been helpful. Please click like on this video. It helps us reach more people. Please subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, please follow the San Antonio Charter Moms page on Facebook. I also encourage you to join our discussion group on Facebook, because it's super helpful, very active group. Also, please tell a friend, share this video with a friend, or ask them to follow our page or join our group. And then finally, I'll look forward to seeing you at a School Discovery Day coming soon. Thanks. Bye.